Who's that guy in that orange shirt? Who must be the fence expert? It's almost time to talk about the fences. It's time to discuss operations and expenses. It's time, it's really time to elevate small businesses. It's time for Joe to drop his knowledge, it's relentless. This rhyme of mine is getting a bit ridiculous. So here we go, we're live with Joe. Enjoy the show.
Good morning, everybody. As you can see, I am not the man in orange. I have taken over the show this morning. So here we go. Let me introduce my great friend right here. This is Mr. Kurt Earl. Good morning.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. How are we doing today?
Doing good. So
Awesome.
I'm excited. So figured I'd bring something different to the show. We're so used to seeing the guy in orange, so I figured I'd change it up a little bit. Happy birthday to Joe, by the way. It's his birthday. Recently, I don't know if it's today, but it's recently, and he is on vacation for his birthday. So as we begin the show today, I want to talk to you guys about, first, can you hear me? If you can, give me a thumbs up to make sure we're all good to go on the audio and the technical side of things. And then I want to talk to the fence guys out there, because Joe told me that his audience was mostly new fence guys, and they had a lot of questions about fencing, fence staining, sealing, things like that. And worried about it. You know, they want to do it, but they don't know about it. A lot of questions, a lot of concerns, things like that. So there it is. So I'll take a quick moment to say good morning to some of our guests. Early bird gets the worm. 9:43, we got our first comment this morning from Justin Menendez over in, he's on duty this morning, so he's at the range shooting M26 shotgun and M240 machine gun at weapons training. So he must be drill weekend. Where did we go? The guys over at Front Rock Fences. I can't get it to go up. He says, good morning. Appreciate you. We saw you at the FWA show, and he's going to see us again in 2024 at Standing University, which is what, February 8th and 9th?
Yes.
Is that the right dates? Mm-hmm. Awesome. Justin says, is there a potential lineup for February Standing Seal University event? Also, will there be a Springfield event in November? Not sure on the Springfield event. Joe's got that one top secret right now. But yes, Standing University in February got actually some really good lineups going. Let me get you the name of probably the headliner. We got a guy who teaches the classes, business classes, at Sashco and Permachink, and does a lot of stuff with Dave Ramsey, and he's got a log home repair company up in Ohio, and his name's Mr. Wayne Bell. So Wayne, if you hear us, you said you would come, and we're excited because that's really what we need. We need business advice that is from someone who's successful in the staining and sealing world. So super excited to have Wayne come. Of course, we're going to have lots of other speakers and things as well. Brian Fredrickson, good morning, sir. Mike D'Antonio sent somebody your way yesterday. Hope you talked to him. Good morning. Let's see. What if Dan Blanc, Dan Wheeler, and Joe Everest are all free? Same person. It's been Caleb Roth or Marco Olson in costumes the whole time. Okay. Who knows? Got a good morning from Kurt. Cannon Johnson, loud and clear. He texted me this morning some of that cypress fence he's building, which looks so good. If you're not using cypress pickets, you're missing out. I used cypress back in the day. Sold more cypress than anything. It is a fantastic fence material. It is stable. Joe Everest, good morning. I appreciate the takeover. There's no I'm surprised Joe's awake right now, to be honest. You know. Good morning. Shiramil, good morning. It's good to see you. I've seen you on the show many, many times, so good morning. Thanks for saying hello. Again, Justin, loud and clear. Aloha Fence. So this man won the post hole digging contest. I knew it was going to go like that. I could tell by looking at him. Cannon Johnson's got 20 questions. And how do you guys prioritize health in your company? That's a good question. Why don't we talk about that?
Sure, let's talk about it.
What do we do?
Well, first and foremost, we stay on each other directly and just say, hey, we challenge each other, right? We have direct conversations. So I have a previous background in fitness, but even then, I would always challenge my colleagues and just simply say, hey, what are we doing to make sure that we're able to pass on something to our kids, right? Are we eating healthy? Are we, making sure we staying hydrated with it being warm? I mean, you guys are fence builders, so you're out in the day-to-day operation. So are we staying hydrated? What are we eating like? And not that we want them to change who they are, but you can still enjoy the same things while still moderating and still be healthy and still enjoy it every day. So, but taking those approach on really, we just making sure we're staying hydrated. We're working out, I know Caleb has offered us several times to come together, and we've talked about it extensively, to come together and do maybe 2 a days, like 75 hard. You're currently doing right now, right? And we see Caleb with the vitamin packs and eating ways and setting, but we also challenge that, and it's I would say from the top down, it's very the word that I'm looking for is, you see it and you want to just do it, right? You want to be a part of it. Like, okay, well, he's doing it and he's the owner, right? So why can't we do it? Why can't we follow suit? So he may be eating peanut butter and almonds or something like that, or eating fish and chicken and rice. And so we'll just say, okay, so we just challenge each other. And the long way around is we just go back and forth that way. It's just easier to see someone doing it from the higher standpoint of the company and say, you know what, I want to do it too, because this guy has 1,001 things on his plate and he's still able to take the time to focus on his health. So as leaders, if we do this and everyone else sees it, it just becomes a trickle-down effect to where everybody wants to be a part of it. In short, I may have said it the long way around, but yeah, that's how we view it. So,
yeah, I like that. I think I heard a guy say that, he's a sales trainer. You guys might have seen him on the internet. I'm not focused on him a whole lot, but he's very. You can tell he's wearing tight shirts, and you can tell he's in really good shape. He's probably on the juice. I don't know,
yeah.
But he said when somebody walks up to you and they shake your hand and they see that you have physique and you're in really great shape, they know one thing right off. They know you're disciplined.
Yep.
And people are more willing to bet their money on you if they already see discipline in one area. So if I'm going to spend a lot of money with this person and I can see that he's disciplined, there's probably a pretty good chance that if he's a good person, he's going to be disciplined to get this project done. So I think trying to do that is a good thing, just to show your discipline to the world. But at the same time, I try to lead by example, but I don't do near as enough, near as much as you want to. But to be healthy, I think if you want to have health in your business, you have to lead from the front. You got to lead by example, right? So that's what I think.
Response,
I think you gotta lead by example.
That's right.
But we do give somebody some hard time. I ask Kurt, man, you've been doing squats.
Yeah.
Mark, good morning. Mark, I'm sorry, Mike. It's across the room. I'm having a long time seeing because I'm sitting so far back from the screen. But it says, morning, question, what is the best sealant and how long does it last? I think the best sealant is probably the one that is most sustainable for you. I think it's just like the best workout plan is the one you'll actually do. So if you pick, you can put I heard Charles Soden this morning. He said you can put, there's some products you can put on a deck that'll last 25 years.
Yep.
He said, but they're going to peel and crack and they're going to make the boards rot and warp. How long is it going to last is probably not the question. It's probably what's the most sustainable. And something that's sustainable is going to be something that doesn't require, it's going to be easy to maintain. So it doesn't require you sanding it or stripping it every year, every 3 years. It's going to be something that you can easily clean off and recoat. The stain we make, Expert Wood Care, is like that. There's a lot of other stains out there like that, but penetrating stains tend to be something that's going to be easier to maintain, and therefore will give you a longer life. If you just want a long life, probably kiln-dried lumber that has never been exposed to UV, that is pre-primed, and then two coats of paint pre-painted would probably be the longest lasting thing. But as soon as you expose that to the elements, you're going to start having some issues with it. Hey, Kurt, why don't you take this question? Cannon Johnson says, how do you guys emphasize and celebrate your faith in the company? You guys are obvious big Jesus fans, and it shows.
I would be more than happy to address this. So coming in, one of the things, most of you guys that have known me and heard my testimony, I worked for a big box retailer at one point in time, and I really wanted to. I love customer service. So if you guys have called in and talked, you know that I want to sow back into you because that's what drives the entire business. And so when I'm talking to you guys on a day-to-day basis or talking to a DIY or whatever new contract coming on board, we want them to know that we love them first, like Christ loves us. Now, we do not want to be known necessarily as a Christian company, but if we hold the values and we execute those and give you what you need and what you're looking for, it will show so that you will be able to personify and be like, oh no, those guys they love Jesus, right? And then we don't have to say it. We don't have to say we're a Christian company. You'll see it. It'll be an outpouring. So for us, it's really simple. I want to love you like Christ loves me. And I want to give, and if you don't believe, that's fine. I don't want to, or we don't want to show that, you have to say Jesus is Lord or things like that. You don't have to do that. We can love you who you are, where you are, by us being who we are and who we found our love from and who we get up, like we read together. We talk about it all the time about different principles, proverbs, right? There's a proverb for every day. And we talk about these things to build the culture because Dave Ramsey and everybody else, Zig Ziglar, the things they do, these are proverbs that they've listened and principles that they built their business model on. They're successful, they work. So if I can give it to anybody, it doesn't matter if they believe in Jesus or not. If I can give that, it makes them successful, then just maybe that it'll draw all men unto him. And then, we can share and explore business and scale their business directly. And so in short, that was, again, a long way around it, but we start talking about the Lord and I get excited. But absolutely, we just want people to know that we love them where they are, to help them and see their value, because I promise you, if he can touch me, he can touch anybody, buddy. I promise you. So great question, Cannon.
Yeah, I think back in the day when I was in the fence business, we had this rule. If we called someone or a customer called us and their voicemail said have a blessed day, or they said have a blessed day at the end of the phone call,
Yeah.
it was just about a 95% chance that this person was not going to be a good customer. They were not going to pay you. They were going to be difficult. They were going to be really rude and nasty. And I'm sure, probably raise your hand if you've had that experience. I think people that try to lead with, and I think that's what you meant by we don't want to be known as the Christian company, because I think some people try to leverage that and they use it as ammunition. To attract people. That's not what we want. We just want to do the right thing. And there's a great book that every time I read it, it's like it gets better. And if we can go by those things, we can do it. But Zig Ziglar also said that 93% of his audience was a Christian audience, and that he'd be a fool not to talk to his audience.
That's
so
right. That's
so
right.
I think that's what we do. We just try to be around. I think what it really comes down to is, do you want to work with people who have similar values? And people who have similar values want to work with people who have similar values, because they don't have to. You don't have to worry about the guy down next door that, in another department. You don't have to worry if he's going to do something. You don't have to worry about people in your company doing things that you wouldn't want your children to see, or you wouldn't want your wife to be exposed to in the company. So I think it just really comes down to good people have good values, generally speaking, and if we all get under one roof, magic things happen, I guess.
And also, so I'm a bandwagon off that. So let's just say that they're not good people, right? And then the aura of the clowns or whatever, it's just infectious. If someone is having a good day and they give you giving you the finger, they're giving you bad verbiage or whatever the case may be, and you say, you know what, I understand, and I apologize, I accept responsibility for that. How may I help you? You can't argue with yourself. It only takes one to argue, but if you shut it down and you show them that you care, it goes away really, really quick. And it may not go as quick as you want it to go away, but eventually it will go away. It will dissipate. And every time you take that approach, it'll dissipate. It'll dissipate. And then finally, they'll either just get off the phone with you, or you'll be able to address them, and then you'll be able to salvage and build a relationship in which they'll share where, because we knew we were going to complain, but you solved my problem. So you're that much more higher up on the echelon for us to share with everybody else. So yeah.
Yes, sir. Let's see, we got another question. This is a loaded question. You have to eliminate your entire product line down to 3 options. What are you choosing and why? I don't know if that's a color question. He's talking about our stains, I guess, if it's a color question. If I had to eliminate it down to 3 things, I would probably eliminate it to eco cleaner, wood brightener, and pecan stain.
Yeah.
We can clean, we can brighten, we can stain. That's probably what I would do. Yeah. Biggest sellers, those things are, pecan sells, it's the best color in the world. It sells more than any other color. It's double the next in line. So it's pecan. We'll just let the market decide, and I think that's the decision the market made. I don't know what that is.
It's Colorado and Team Dion for real. So it's a football question, and if you look good, you play good. And if you play good, they pay good, right? Cannon, I see you, buddy. You know what? To be honest with you, I do believe that Colorado and Dion are for real. But Dion is another one of those people that we talk about that he just takes. So he's taking all the opportunity to go from whatever platform and transpose it to the children, right? And he keeps preaching that, but unfortunately, when you're talking those principles, people believe more of what they see than what you say. So you just got to show up. So when you ask that question directly, is Colorado and Team Dion for real? We just got to wait and see, right? But we know what he stands for. We've seen him. I mean, he's one of the very few collegiate and professional players that's been able to go multi-sports and do the things that he's done. And he's highly regarded and respected as probably one of the greatest DBs in the world, right? Arguably, but not really. Many are not going to argue that. So, yeah, I would say for sure. This Colorado and Team Dion for real? Yes. But let's just see, right?
Well, Justin says Dion is a real deal, and Nebraska is in for hurting. When I was a kid, man, if you didn't have that Deion Sanders jersey and that starter jacket, that cowboy starter jacket,
that's right,
back
baby.
in the day. But I've heard some of what he talks, and I like it because I think that's a good role model for people.
Yeah, I
young
agree
people,
with you. I agree
for sure.
with you.
Healthy leaders make better leaders, in my opinion. Good on you guys. I think healthy human beings are just better.
True.
With Cannon 75 hard and starting tomorrow. Sorry, a bang a day keeps the doctor away and help you stain 3 jobs a day. I hear you. Favorite species of wood to stain? What do you think?
You know, so I would say, I personally, so I don't necessarily stain, but I hear contractors say constantly that cedar may be it's rough cut, but it's porous, and so it just absorbs. So I mean, if they're going out there doing it, goes on. You don't really have to worry about anything. It's a very porous wood, and when it comes out, the color is beautiful. You really could put a true flood coat on it, and he really gives it a good coat. And I'm going back to a contract that I talked to in Alabama. He was spraying cedar fence, and my favorite color is mahogany. For everybody that doesn't know, I think mahogany is probably one of the most beautiful colors that you can put on a fence. So, and he told me, he says, with cedar, just mahogany, with that flood coat that you guys recommend, it soaks it up, and it is just soaks it up, excuse me, and it's just a beautiful coat. You're not really worrying about running or anything like that because it's so porous. Not that we have to worry about running, but it's just a soft wood, it's porous, that it just has so many more benefits than maybe when someone would say pine. And when I say by benefits, I'm just simply saying that it's just easier to utilize too, based on contractor feedback that I've gathered.
Yeah, I'll probably agree. Western red cedar. It's just it has that classic look that you just can't get with anything else.
Yeah.
And a lot of wood look. I mean, everything looks better stained, but Western red cedar is just beautiful grain.
We'll see.
Cannon says, treat people how you want to be treated, win friends, and influence people. A lot of success for you guys because this is evidence, and we say it for you. You don't have to tell it because it shows. Well, I appreciate that. Don't want the show to be all about us today, though. I want to talk about you fence guys. So, Mike D'Antonio says, when you identify a problem customer, how do you respectfully tell them you don't wish to work with them?
I'll take that one on. So respectfully, you don't. I'll answer that question with that question. You don't tell them that you don't want to work with them. You let them know. You give them the information to help them be successful. There's a lot, and they may not give you all the things that are really bothering them, but there are unspokens, right? You want to cater to those unspokens. You give them the overflow of information. So let's say, for an example, a contractor calls in and they say, I put this on and you guys didn't take care of me. A customer. You guys didn't take care of me, and I did this and I recommended this and I did exactly what you said. Well, great. So let's identify what it's going to take to fix it. Maybe bring the data to them. Just bring the facts to them. You'll hear me use their words a lot in the office. But bring the facts to them and let them know what it's going to cost, how to correct it, and you want to solve the problem for them. And they're going to tell you because they're going to be left with a decision at that point. You present the facts, they have a decision to make. That'll be that. And then if they want to continue on, you have your price set so that if you have to deal with an uncomfortable customer, then the price is set to where you at least offset your expense with their disposition versus, or they'll just go to somebody else and you've done your job, you save face, and they'll go somewhere else and you're done with them. That's how I would handle that.
Yeah, and so my background's a little more probably on the service side. So you're talking products that we sell on the service side. In my experience, we do encounter people that we don't want to work for sometimes. For example, we had a customer, unfortunate customer, a couple of weeks ago, and they have teak patio furniture. And we don't do teak patio furniture, but I'd like to, and I think we could do it. We had a little downtime. It's been a rainy month. I said, let's quote the teak patio furniture. We'll get it. We'll restore it. We'll stain it for this lady. And we had some problems. It was our fault. The problem, number one, was we had someone out sick the first day we were supposed to do her job, and we had to reschedule it. And then the second day that we were supposed to go out, our truck, the service truck, on the way to the job, the brakes went down to the metal and started smoking. So we had to call it off. And we called her and let her know early in the day, hey, we're getting the brakes fixed. If we can get it today, we will. If not, it'll be the next day. And she got pretty nasty with us and told us, I just don't think you guys have the ability to do the job. Just very rude, condescending. And basically, we gave her deposit back and wished her the best. And I don't know if we made a recommendation to other contractors. Sometimes we do that. But that's kind of pretty much the way it went. Sometimes, unfortunately, customers will back you up against the wall. But I like to, usually you can identify that on the front end before you do business with them. Some people, where we are now in the service business, if somebody calls us and they're rude before we've ever, the first conversation, we're probably just not going to want to work with them because I don't want Mandy over here being abused. I don't want Jeremy being abused. Right. I don't want my crews being abused by someone who's, and a lot of times people are, they're damaged goods. We've got a customer right now who had a log home built, and they really, really, really had a bad contractor. Terrible experience, very emotional, just really, really bad. And we come along and we didn't tell them how bad it was. They knew, and we told them, well, the good news is we can fix it, and here's what we can do. We can make this better. And we didn't spend all our time telling her all the things we're not going to do that the other contractor did. We don't beat on our chest. We just basically say, well, if the way I would do it is, I would say, well, if we do all the things that we want, this is what I recommend. This will get you looking good again with your log home. If we do these things, is that what you want? You'll be happy. Yes. Okay, and if we do all of the bad things that your last contractor did, if we don't show up, if we do this or that, how about we just write it in the contract where you just don't pay us? Is that fair? And yes, that's fair. And so I think sometimes you got to understand what you're dealing with, because sometimes you may get a very defensive or damaged goods customer that doesn't mean to be disrespectful, doesn't mean to be rude, but you just have to identify it early on and then handle them properly. Because sometimes it's just like we're all humans, right? If you're in a relationship, I'm married, so I'm not talking about marriage, but when you're a kid or you're young and you're not married and you date someone and you're in a long relationship and then you get hurt really bad, well, the next person you may not be so nice to them, right? Your guard may be up. So some people's guard's just up, and you just got to have a little work to identify what that guard, if the guard is actually up or not. So,
great question, Mike.
Yeah, but follow your heart, follow your gut, man. If somebody's difficult and rude on the front end, don't take the abuse.
But kill them with kindness. Just save face. Kill them with kindness.
100%. We got a microphone right in the way. I'm going to move it back.
Just practice your faith by action and being an example in all that you do. Absolutely, Justin. Those are defining core principles and core values that we want to definitely exemplify at all times. Yes, sir.
Let's see. It says, Brian Fredrickson says, hey, can we do some staining training during the demo day in Las Vegas at the next fence show in 2024? I want to train some people to start doing stain. Yeah, we could. But anytime we're at an expo and you got so many things going on, we're not going to be able to give you the full treatment. So we could show you some tips and tricks. We could get you started. But if you really want to get crews going and have a really good handle on it, I recommend coming to one of our events like Staining University and then find somebody that they can mentor with. There's a lot of companies out that we could recommend who do good work, have good morals, and could use some extra help. So if you could send a crew or a couple guys to here or there to train to actually do jobs, I think that whatever that costs you, it'll be worth it. At this point, I really like the log home world, and I'd like to get crews doing log homes. I'm perfectly willing to send guys up and pay them for 2 weeks to go work for somebody else for free, if it means that it's going to change the trajectory of where our business is going on the quality side and on the operations side. So, all right, Cannon Johnson, can you read that one, Kurt? I can't see.
Yeah,
it.
10-4. Are you guys surprised by the acceptance and growing popularity of pre-stained lumber? Any outlook or vision prediction for the future of pre-stained fence? Mr. Cannon Johnson.
And I think as lumber gets worse, they're going to have to do something to it. And so I think what we're doing, we're seeing pre-stain come about, but from the contractor side, we want to say, to the customer-facing side, we want to say, well, this is convenience. It's beautiful. It's going to make the fence look better and last longer. But I think, on the opposite side of the spectrum, from the sawmills, from the importers, the Japanese cedar and things like that, pre-stained lumber serves a purpose. If you've got Japanese cedar, it shrinks, it gets wet and shrinks, it can crack. Staining it with oil-based stain eliminates a lot of those problems, right? And it makes it look maybe just a little bit more. We can add some color to it, make it look like Western red. A lot of this treated pine that we're seeing coming out with pre-stain, some of that is just because they want to kind of get a little bit of that niche pre-stain market, but other parts of these pre-treated products is because the lumber needs it. Old growth versus new growth lumber, this new growth stuff is just not as stable. So a lot of these coatings can stabilize the lumber. So I think a lot of it is both convenience and beauty and things like that, but I also think a lot of it comes down to it needs it. The lumber needs it. It's just not the quality it used to be. So we got to do something to increase the quality of the lumber. Let's see. What, in your opinion, from Jeff Sorensen, what in your opinion is the difference between an industry influencer and an industry leader? I got no idea. Bam Bam's over here looking at us. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
We're all working today. What's
That's
going
it,
on
baby.
with
What's
us?
going on?
I got no idea. You know, industry influencers and industry leaders. What I consider an industry influencer or leader, and probably what the internet would call an industry influencer and industry leader, is different, because a lot of influencers in any realm are not actually doing the thing that they're influencing about. Right?
Yeah.
You know, and so I think what I'm looking for in an industry influencer or industry leader is just somebody who's, I really don't know. I should have probably prepared for this question, but I think I'm looking for somebody who's going to do things maybe differently, or is doing things the same old way. Because, you know, some people are constantly trying to change things.
Yeah.
And then you'll find somebody who's literally doing it the same way that they've done it for 40 years,
Yeah.
and they're doing it very well. It's very polished, very streamlined, and they're very profitable doing it. So, you know, we need to be constantly growing and changing, you know.
Yep.
But sometimes you look back and, you know, I went to a company that's a $40 million fence company to find out about all their systems and processes, and I found out that they were doing paper copy, quotes, and they were doing a basic Google Calendar, and they were doing basic spreadsheets for keeping up with things. And the reason they did paper copies was because, number one, they could do it right there on the spot.
Mm-hmm.
They could keep up with them. And then they would take all these stacks of paper. So you can imagine the size of the company. They had quote stacks that were this big sitting in their office. And they had a rule. Their salesmen were commission based, and they had a rule: if somebody else closes your job for you and follows up and closes it, they get half your commission. So there were people in the office going, you know, if their stacks of paper, if they had downtime, they just start calling people. They just start calling quotes, and their close rate was through the roof. And it gave the receptionist, it gave one of the, you know, the fence crew guys, whatever, it gave everybody the opportunity to earn income, because they would go in and be a part of that sales and follow-up process. And the crew, the actual salespeople knew that they had to do their follow-up and stay on top of it, or somebody else was going to do it. But at the end of the day, if somebody else follows up with one of the 1,000 quotes that I've done this year, and they close it and they get half the money, hey,
Great.
that's free money.
Yeah.
So I think I look for things like that are different, that make me think. What do you think?
Oh, well, from my opinion, I would bottle them up in one and the same. I mean, I'm soft landing this, and I hope I'm reading it correctly, but I'm going to read the question so I can understand it too. What, in your opinion, is the difference between an industry influence and an industry leader? I think one and the same, to be honest with you. I mean, if you find someone that's doing it, if it's not broke, don't fix it, right? Your influencer in the industry, if they're doing it, I'll use Chick-fil-A, right? Chick-fil-A is one of the easiest ones to attack. But they have, 7 to 9 SKUs total, right? I mean, they're not doing anything different. They're closed on Sundays and closed on holidays, and they just keep doing the same thing over. They don't project or say who they are. You just know, right? And people have jokes, and they call it the Jesus chicken, right? But nothing is really changing. From the very beginning, they were laughed out, right? When they first came on board, no one thought that they were just, you had churches, you had KFC, you had all these other different chicken places, Bojangles, wherever you're from. And they just thought that they would eventually fizzle out. And then you look at them today, and by golly, if we don't make it on Saturday before, because you won't get it on Sunday, right? Or if we don't put an order in for a plate on Saturday, if you got a dinner on Sunday for a gathering, you won't have it. So they are huge influencers and the industry leaders. So really, you know, iron sharpens iron. You want to lock arms and look for niches and people that exemplify both of them, one and the same. I don't believe you have to separate them. I mean, in my opinion, the difference is not really, I don't want to look for a difference. I want to look for one that's doing both, because really, if they're doing it, then they should be both. A leader should be an influencer, and an influencer should be a leader. So,
A good leader will influence.
that's right.
So Cannon says, man, Cannon is on it this morning. He's got
He is.
lots of questions, so we appreciate it. Tell us about your upcoming new space and what it means for the company and for your customer base. Well, first of all, we do have a new space, and we're very blessed and fortunate and thankful and grateful. We check all the boxes on that we've been working on for quite some time.
That's right.
It's a lot bigger. We'll have space. We'll be able to better serve. We'll be able to better be comfortable as a team. We'll be able to have phone calls with the people who call us and not be plagued with background noise. We got a tight
Tight
space
quarters,
here,
yeah.
tight quarters,
Sure.
and so I think the number one thing for the new facility that we have is what it means to us is we're blessed and we're thankful for everyone that works with us. But I think what it means to our customer base is that everyone can do it. I think we got a lot of heat. We got a lot of heat from the stain industry when we started doing what we were doing, because I know why, because it meant to the world, it meant to all the stain companies that they had no secrets. They weren't doing anything that couldn't be done by common man.
Right.
And so I think that's why we got so much heat early on from other stain manufacturers, because we let the cat out of the bag. We let everybody know that you can do it too. And we've done it. And I think no matter what space you're in, I think what our building says is that a regular guy, a regular bunch of people can do something bigger than themselves. And so I hope that when we do our building, it comes as an inspiration to others.
And if we lock on to enough regular guys or regular people that are willing to go the extra mile, we will all produce extraordinary, things, which is what we want. And also, just to be honest with you, you get a brand new home, you want to show it off. You want everybody to feel and say, hey, welcome. Thank you for being a part of this. We want you to feel at home when you get there. It's a business, sure, but come in, see what, like he said, taking something from the ground, scaling it up, and really showing, giving back and saying, guys, none of this would be possible if it wasn't for you guys. And we want to make this so that it stays just for you guys. The building doesn't matter anything. It's just a building. But you guys are the reason why we are here, because we want to be able to provide more services for you at a quicker rate, efficiently, with better quality, or whatever the case may be, what have you, or what you're looking for, looking and really honing in on our skills there to service you guys directly. That's what it comes to.
I agree with that. So Dan Blanc, Defense King, just got another 45-gallon buckets in yesterday. We thank you very much for that.
Dan, I should have put it on my back and brought it to you directly, buddy. I apologize. I'll work on that, okay?
So here's a question. Do you have a monthly budget on advertising? Sure we do. I'm not going to give you a number or a percentage or anything like that, because I think here's what I think. I'll tell you a story. So we sell a lot of stuff on the internet, and so therefore we pay advertising on the internet, and quite a substantial amount. And our internet, Facebook advertising and Google AdWords person, their account got hacked, and that shut down all our advertising for 3 weeks. And this ad spend that we were spending every month and depending on for both our service business and our online e-commerce sales, we were depending on those, and we knew we had to have it. We had to increase it. We had to increase it. We had to increase it. Well, when it went away for 3 weeks, our sales did not drop. And so now I'm scratching my head going, wait a minute. Yeah. We're spending all this money and it's not working. Maybe it's not working. And so I think, so that sent us on a whole new research, a whole new everything that changed everything. And so I think we got to be careful with throwing money away on advertising, because there's nothing like who are you going to use to do whatever? You're going to use who you know, right, who you've heard of, not necessarily who you trust, because I don't know the plumber up the road. I don't necessarily trust him, but I'm going to call him, and if he shows up, I'm going to hire him if he doesn't raise any red flags, right? Yeah. So I think the first question I would ask for whatever business you're in is, have you done everything you can do as far as calling all your old customers, calling all the people you want to do business with in your town? Have you called your uncle who owns, a landscape company, maybe, that, hey, do you mind if I can piggyback on some of your customers? We could trade cards or something. Have you done those boots on the ground, those organic things? Because those things are the hard things.
That's right.
It's easy to throw your credit card in the internet and just get ads. It's difficult to coach a little league team and put your name on the back of the shirt, right, and do that work. It's difficult to get everybody organized to be in the Christmas parade in your town. It's difficult to call everybody in your town that you want to do business with. But I'd say that the return, both monetarily and spiritually fulfillment, wise, is probably a lot better. So what do you think? I think you've got some stuff. You talk about this a lot.
I do talk about this. You actually struck one of my key points there. So I was talking to a contractor just yesterday, actually two directly, and I challenged them. So they have well, the timestamp doesn't matter, but they have a challenge now to go back. How many of us are going back into our database and just simply following up and just telling our previous customers that we've worked or done business with or had experience with, hey, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Hey, just want to touch base. How's everything going? Doing a 2-month follow-up, doing a 4-month follow-up, 6-month follow-up, what have you. Is there anything that you notice has changed? Is there anything I can bring to you? Any feedback, good or bad? You want to let them know that you are listening to them. Great. They give you the information. Hey, that's fantastic. By the way, do you know anybody else that could utilize our service so we can offer? And if they say no, great, I understand. Pass it along. As far as advertising, obviously you have to spend money on what works, what produces, whether it be Google ads or Facebook ads or whatever the case may be. But your most profitable is going to be your word of mouth tacked on to what did you make that customer feel when you were there. And so they're going to see that. And then they're going to remember that experience. Like, you know what, this guy was at this price, but they brought A, Y, and Z. When they showed up, they had a cup of coffee. They picked up my trash. They made sure that they let me know some of the add-ons and things that was going on with my house. They pointed these things out to me. It's that extra value. It's that branding. That branding with that conversation between you and that customer right then will minimize your ad spend dollars because they're going to go and tell everybody else about you while you're sleeping. So now you have part-time workers out there in the fields while you're taking a nap or you're at the baseball game with your son or your daughter, and they're working because of how you made them feel. And that's what you really, really want. And as that returns an investment for your ROI, if you will, you still may have to have a monthly budget that you may utilize. So you may just simply say, you know what, for a little while, this is really working for us. And so we can scale back and just see how organic this thing can grow. And then once the organic fad, if you will, whereas if it does in your market, because it may not, it may go on. There's several contractors where word of mouth is they continue to scale, right? That's what we want for everybody, organic. But that comes with you. So Jesse, I hope that answers your question directly with that 2 cents that I added. But your monthly budget, as Caleb mentioned, that's a variable. And but just make sure that you are the brand that they want to go and work free, part-time for you, where you just blown them out the water, where they just can't quit talking about you. And that's your marketing budget right there.
Just remember, when you do it, let's just say you spend $100 a week. I haven't thought this all the way through, so I'm going to see if I can hit the math right. Let's say you spend $100 per week, or let's just say you spend $100 in advertising per lead you get for your service business, 100 per lead. And out of 10 leads you get, that cost you $1,000. And these numbers are pretty, it's a little on the high side, but it's not far off.
No.
And so 10 leads for $1,000. And let's say our closing rate, because maybe the economy is not the greatest right now, and because you went to a marketplace to advertise where people are getting multiple bids, it's going to be a little more difficult. It's more difficult to close someone who looked you up or saw an advertisement versus somebody who said, hey, you got to call this guy, don't call anybody else, right? So let's say you have a 30% close rate, 40% close rate. So 4 jobs you closed, it cost you $1,000. And because I was not a math teacher, I slept through most of my math classes, I'm going to do some calculation. What does that look like? I don't know how to use this new phone. All right, so we got $1,000 divided by 4. So 200. Well, that was easy. How did I not come up with that? $250 a lead. If you're doing deck staining or fence staining, and let's say your average job is our average staining job right now is about $1,700, and let's just say we're running a 50% margin. And so that 50% margin means out of the $1,700 job, we'll just say $1,750 divided by 2. That means I have $875 to cover overhead. Those 4 leads cost me $250 each. So my $875 just went down by $250. So now I only have $625 left of gross profit to cover my administrative costs, to cover any payroll, to cover any salesperson commissions. Let's say that I paid $170 for commission for salesperson. Now I'm down to $455. Now let's say that we have insurance, we have taxes, we have all these things. So a $250 cost per lead is very common. Some people spend as high as $1,000 per lead for regular service work. And so you just have to be careful advertising because you have to count it and you have to know what it actually costs you. So your ad budget is not what it actually costs you, because if you're like I said, if you're spending $1,000 a week to advertise, but you're getting 10 leads off of it, but you're only closing 4. It's $250 per job that it costs you to advertise. So what does it cost you to advertise to a word of mouth customer? Because you just did a great job. You know, if you do 10 of those, you've saved $2,500. So I just think you need to be careful and just make sure that you're doing everything you can organically. Max those out before you take on all the leads, because it's low stress to do organic stuff.
Yes.
It's low stress. It's low stress to do really great customer service. And if you get your team built up so that they leave a good taste in people's mouth when they leave. These guys did a great job. They went above and beyond. They petted my dog. We stained, there was a bird nest on the fence. They removed the bird nest. They stained the fence or built the fence, put the bird nest back. These are great people. You want to work with them. It's easy to scale that because your team's trained. If you just drop a bunch of leads on guys that are halfway trained, all it's going to do is just going to make your stress level go up, because you're going to have guys who can't handle that added load. And in order to keep that good reputation, you got to keep it. So Here's another thing we did. We have big fence signs. I don't have one handy, but we have big fence signs, and then we have. I've always wondered, like, what am I going to do for decks? We can put a fence sign on, but we do a ton of decks. So here's our business card, right, for our service business. So I always wanted a business card size sign, because this sign right here is too big to go on a deck, right? So we just got these little guys right here. So you can see how big they are. They're about the size of a business card, a little smaller, but it says Professional Wood Care Services by Stain and Seal Experts. These go on decks. We have brown screws. They go right in. Put them in an out-of-the-way place. Perfect for commercial jobs. We've got a playground that we did, a huge playground for a municipality. We're going to go back and put these on it. If you do a restaurant, you want to put this there. If you do, the fence at a greenway or at a park, you want to put these there so people can see them. They're inconspicuous, but they look professional, and that sign's going to last for 20 years. So, and if you do decks, particularly, 2 years ago when everybody was moving every 6 months because of the house market, if you stained a deck, a year later, chances are the same person didn't live there. That little sign will get them calling you back. Another thing you can do with these is you can put magnets on the back, and you can put them on their air conditioner service panel. You can have them put them on the hot water heater or on the panel in their house, the electrical panel, and you want them to remember you. So little things like this, this is long term. Yeah. You're not going to get a return on this tomorrow, but eventually this is going to start feeding you. So think outside the box as well, because you can't cancel that. The internet can cancel you. You can't cancel this. So that's that.
That's it. Yeah.
Are there any upcoming master classes at your facility? My wife and I are starting our business, and we'd love to learn more and grow. Well, I appreciate you looking to us to learn. We just share from all the mistakes we've made. We are by no means experts at business. I would say that we're just we make stain for experts, so that doesn't mean we're an expert. But we'd love to have you out. Yeah, we're planning on doing classes at our new facility because we've got space to do it. But if you're in a hurry, just call us, and we'll be glad to do anything we can to help you get started, and maybe save you some of the mistakes we made.
That's right.
So Justin, he's talking about when I said go send your guys to work with someone else who's already doing it. He said we trained 2 crews from fence builders on our staining and back brushing methods. He said he enjoyed the experience and sharing the knowledge. We installed 2 pre-stain jobs last week, so surprised at how our market says yes to it. So Cannon is not in a pre-stain market. He's basically in Jackson, Tennessee. And it's not common there. So I guess he's pleasantly surprised that everyone is loving to take advantage of that pre-stain lumber. And he says, don't sell a $10,000 fence for $7,500, stain it. So it makes sense.
It does.
There's no doubt Jesse and his team are doing a great job, and they run an excellent marketing program. One of the biggest fence TikTokers out there. I don't know who that is, but I'll have to check it out. I don't really get on TikTok. I don't know how to use it. There's just some things I don't want to learn.
Yes. Facts.
some things I don't want to learn. So,
That's right.
but anyways, that's cool. Those are some pretty good questions. Maybe I'll end with the opportunity. If you're a fence company, and what the opportunity is, because we beat all around this bush this morning. So I got a presentation here. I will run you guys through real quick. Let me pull it up on the screen. Let's see here. All right, bear with me. I'm going to get you guys add to stage. All right. Number one reason. So this presentation we've done this presentation at the FWA show. We've done it at the AFA events, and so it's a cool presentation. So the best investment is in the tools of one's own trade by Benjamin Franklin. I think that's something to keep, and that's me. But the number one callback in wood fencing. Do you guys know what it is? And I'm talking to the fence builders out there. It's warping, cracking, and twisting. And this was the story of my life, because many of you may know that I grew up in the fence business. You build a beautiful fence, and then 6 weeks later, it looks like this. And guess who's mad at you? The homeowner. And what do? You tell them, well, this is an act of nature. This is a natural product. This just happens. This is because of treated pine. But they don't care. They don't listen. They just paid all this money, and now it's warped and it looks like crap. They don't care about that. You know, if you bought a new truck and then in 3 weeks it had dents all over it and it just happened, you'd be pretty upset. And so a lot of fences are also replaced due to, and once they're aged, due to warping, rotting, bugs, plain ugly. Bugs could be like termites, things like that. And so these fences end up looking like this. And here's your customer. How many of you have had that customer? You know, that lady. I've never seen so much concentration of mad and ugly in one place, right?
Linda.
Yeah. So the question that I asked myself years ago was, how many customers am I losing each year due to this ugly or warped or cracked fence? And the problem was I couldn't I didn't know, because some customers, a lot of guys that are in the fence business, they say, oh, well, I want my fences to fall down because I want to go back and rebuild them every 5 years or every 7 years. And I think the problem is if you build me a fence and it only lasts 7 years, I'm not calling you back. Correct. I'm going to call somebody else back. And we've seen that. We saw that in our own business. We got some treated pine posts in Nashville. They weren't treated properly. There was a class action lawsuit about it. It came out that the lumber manufacturer messed up. But all the fence companies who installed it are the ones who got sued and had to eat all the money on it. All the fence guys we were one of them. We spent all this money defending ourselves in court. And then the treatment plant settled outside of court with all the homeowners and left all the fence guys hanging high and dry. So our little company had a $40,000 bill, and there's probably 30 or 40 fence companies in Nashville that all had similar bills, and some of them even bigger bills. And so at the end of the day, the homeowner, even though it was obviously due to the treatment process, all the customers that we built their fence and they fell down, they didn't call us back, even though they knew the court said it wasn't our fault. The University of Tennessee did a test and a study, and they said it wasn't our fault. They said it was the lumber. But there was a fence right down the road. It was over a six-figure fence that we built. He didn't call me back. After he got settled, and he didn't call me back. He used somebody else because he had that bad taste because that fence fell down. So they're not going to call you back if your fence falls down. And so how much money are you losing by not staining your fences, by letting your fences warp, crack, and twist? What are you losing? That was the question I asked myself. The problem is, here's a new 2x4 versus an old one. Old growth lumber versus new growth lumber. The difference is very obvious. The one on the top is very fast growth. We're breeding trees nowadays that grow fast. And I didn't mean to do that, but that's the way it goes. New versus old. You know, this one up here grows fast. And so when we get warping, it's due to uneven drying. So when these veins, these year marks, I don't know what you call these exactly, these growth rings, when they're far apart like that and this lumber dries unevenly, this can really, really warp quickly. This one over here is on the bottom is much more stable. So we're looking for stability, and we get stability with we get stability with age, right, in this lumber. So all the fences now are generally fast growth lumber unless you're buying old growth Western red cedar. So one day in the family fence business, God speaks to me. Has he ever spoke to you? Did you always listen? So that's exactly what happened right there. This hand comes down and tells me, you need to stain fences. But the reason I wanted to do it was not because of warping, cracking, and twisting. The reason I wanted to do it because I was broke. I didn't have no money, and so I needed to find how to increase the income for my family. So I took the last $500 I had on December 3rd, 4th, 5th, something like that, many years ago, and I went and I learned how to stain fences, and I started this company on the side called Central Tennessee Fence Staining. Now that's a big long name, and I thought that I was going to be getting all these Google would find that name because everybody was searching for fence stainers in Central Tennessee. Right. Nobody uses that term, So eventually I had to do something different. But what we discovered when we started staining all the fences that we were building is we got no more warping, we got no more cracking, we got no more twisting. And that was like a revelation to us because it cut our callbacks down. It cut our mad customers down. And our fences look better. Mm-hmm. My fence is stained. It's got my fence company sign on it. The 3 fences down the street were turning gray. So people started saying, hey, we called you because your fences look better. They just look better, and we want one of those. Mm-hmm. And so that fence looks better, obviously, than that twisted fence we saw a few minutes ago. So if you stain and seal with a penetrating oil-based stain, it will preserve and protect and condition the wood on your fence or deck or log home or whatever you're building. And so it's an important thing to be thinking about as when you own a construction company that builds anything out of wood. Stains that penetrate, they go deep into the wood. This is after 2 weeks of penetration. Stain, the sealer, and the everything that protects against UV stays in the top, but the oils go deep into the wood. Everybody wants to know why we don't put solvents in our stain. It's because solvents evaporate. It looks good the first day when it goes in, but once it evaporates, it's gone. We want our oil to go in the wood and stay in the wood and never dry. And that's going to keep things stable. It's going to keep the wood from drying unevenly. So that's what's actually doing the warping and twisting prevention. Also, no termites. It's just not as good to eat for bugs, right. So a couple ways to get into that business. You can refer a stainer. Don't be afraid to refer someone who will stain your fences for you because they will make your fences look better. They'll make your customer service and your customer experience better. And you've helped another fellow contractor, right? And he can refer you out as well. You can hire a subcontractor. So that guy you were referring, if he does a great job, hire him as a sub. And then also you can start your own crew, and we're happy to help you with all 3 of those options. But if you do this in your fence business or in your deck building business and your outdoor kitchen or patio business, pergola building business, it will increase your cash flow. It will increase your close rate because a lot of people, they just want to hire one guy to do it all. I want you to tear the old one down. I want you to build the new one, and I want you to stain and seal it so I don't have to worry about tearing this one down later. So it's going to increase your close rate, and it's going to increase a very important number. It's the LTV of your business, the lifetime value of your customer, which is a very important thing. Remember that $250 that it cost to get a job that we were talking about? If you were advertising earlier, if you were getting 4 out of 10 with $1,000 ad spend, you can take that $250 ad spend and increase the value that you get out of it by increasing your lifetime value of your customer. And also, the number one reason to stain a fence that I tell everybody is because it looked good. It's because it looked good.
No, it didn't look good.
Marty Stewart, country singer, he said he had those dual antennas on the back of his Cadillac. He said they're not hooked up to nothing. He said, but they look good. Again, back to the problem. Why should we even worry about this? We cut down so many trees on this planet every year, and this is a real number. It's a real number, and raise your hand if you know what the number is. How many trees do we cut down every year? If you stack them end to end, if you put them end to end like this, they would go to the moon and back 6 times. Each year, we cut down that many trees to go to the moon and back 6 times. So my goal with telling you guys this is hopefully if we can slow down the churn of cutting down all these trees, then maybe we can get some better lumber for our kids or for our kids' kids. And if you increase the lifetime value and if you open yourself up to maintenance opportunities, your business is going to flourish anyways. You don't have to worry about, well, we need to rebuild these fences every 5 years. You can very easily increase that value by doing this. And so how long does a fence last? Everybody we've talked to says 7 to 10 years on average, and honestly, it's closer to the 7-year mark from what most people say. Staining that fence, the same fence, we can increase that life to 20 plus years. We like to say just about indefinitely if you stay on top of the maintenance, but it's an easy 20 plus years. You've increased your customer experience. They're happy. Your fence looks nice. You've retained your customers because if you say, hey, we built it, now we'll stain it. We'll clean it for you every couple of years. We'll stain it for you every couple of years. My truck's in the neighborhood. I'm retaining customers, and I'm doing more organic advertising by just being seen in the neighborhood. And so this maintenance plan I talked about earlier, let's turn a $1 customer into a $4 customer. So hopefully you got something out of this. Wood care after you build the fence is not going to make you rich, but it will increase overall customer satisfaction. It'll increase your cash flow and revenue. It'll reduce your callbacks. It'll extend the life of the fences you build. It'll increase lifetime customer value, and it will give you recurring revenue opportunities. And your business value of your business increases substantially when you have a recurring revenue model going. It increases substantially when you have a customer base that's locked in. So remember this. So let's just say that your business profits $100,000 a year in EBITDA, so earnings before interest, tax, and amortization, because that's what your business is actually valued on, is that number. And so let's say that a business that doesn't have any kind of a customer list that's very decent, it doesn't have any kind of good customer lifetime value, it's very low, there's no recurring revenue, there's no maintenance plans, that business may be worth a 3 times multiplier. So that $100,000 business, if you're lucky, may be worth $300,000. Now, if you have a business that has a recurring revenue model, it has a very high lifetime value of customer, it has maintenance contracts in place, your business, that multiplier may go to 6, it may go to 8, it may go to 10. So that $100,000 business now could be valued at as much as $1 million. So when you go to step out of your business, just by adding something like this, and there's other things you can add as well, maybe it's gate operators, maybe it's different things. But if you add these things into your business, it's not just you made extra $20,000 this year. It's you added a 5 times multiplier to the actual value of your business that you're going to leave to your children, or that you're going to sell because you want to get out of the business one day. So food for thought, something to think about. Staining a fence might just change your family tree. It sure did for me. So my goal is that this little bitty stain business can help some other folks, because man, I tell you, I was desperate when I started staining. When you saw that hand of God reaching down to tell me to go stain a fence, I needed it, man. I needed it. So hopefully somebody else out there needs it.
That's right.
And you can do it. I guess that's all we got for the day. What do you think?
Hey guys, I want to thank you again for taking the time to come out. Caleb, thank you for inviting me for the first time. This is my first go around, but Caleb's encouraged me, and I want to say, so let's just talk about some of the side opportunities as well. You know, one of the biggest joys that I get is someone asks me, why staining? You know, why did you choose Staining Seal Experts? And for me, it was, I get to do what I want to do, talking to people, loving on people, giving them the expert advice that, you know, you would call expert advice, but to us it's just daily conversations, right? And just love on them and help them scale a business. You call me, I tell people all the time, my job is not to get it from you, it's to get it to you. Now, depending on how you view that may change some ideas of what you're looking for in your business, but really it's simple. I want you to be the best version that you possibly can be, whatever it looks like for you. But mainly in your business, changing just your financial ability, the way you do your day-to-day life. You know, I'm married with 3 children. So when I go home, and we talk about this often, Daddy, what'd you do today? Or Honey, what'd you do today? I want to be able to look my kids in their face and tell them, I loved on people, and I changed somebody's life. Now somebody's don't have to sleep in their car or have to worry about the lights when they get cut off, because they were able to implement basic principles that should not have cost them anything. Matter of fact, it should put more money in their pockets. brought a smile on them, but and then they were able to go out there and provide a service that person's going to go through and work part time for them. So, all in all, I believe I just said like 4 things at one time, and it's common, I'm sure, with me because my brain is always moving. But ultimately, gentlemen, and ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for having me on today. Joe, I'm sorry you couldn't make it, but enjoy your vacation. And Caleb, thanks for having me on, sir. Thank you guys.
It's been a pleasure. It's been fun. Appreciate you coming. To what is the saying? If what is freely given, we're just gonna freely give it away. I guess.
Do it. Yeah.
So I know Joe says good fences make good neighbors, but I think he should change the ending of the show to something a little more practical. So this is Kurt Earl, and I'm Caleb Roth from Expert Wood Care, reminding you that a fence or deck job is not done. It's not complete until it's finished.
That's right.
See you guys on the next one. Thank you.